Welcome, my delightful delinquent friends, to, whatever, the goddamn show. This is probably more like the old school Jaffe stream. There's not a lot of news today, and thus, we're not really going to, I'm more than happy to talk about whatever you want. Somebody said to me the other day, it may have been Addy Pie who's in the chat right now. He's like, why not just stream every day? And I says, well, it's hard to do that with video game news because it's not always interesting. And I don't want to be one of these guys that just puts a bunch of crap up there and it's just like, oh, did you guys hear today that EA Sports is, here's the cover guy for Madden. Who gives a shit? You don't care and I don't care either. It's got to be beefy, juicy, good news. And Addy Pie says to me, well, ESPN Sports Center is able to cover any sport. Every day they have a show. I'm like, yeah, bitch, because it's like a fucking $8 million an episode show with 20, 30, 40 researchers, you son of a bitch. Point being, welcome to the show. Today it's kind of free swim. Whatever you guys want to talk about is, and there is some video game news we will talk about. There is some weird news we will talk about. We can talk politics. But I will agree with my pal in the chat there. Where did it go? I'm on OBS, so they don't do as good of a job with the being able to select a chat and move it over. But I'm also I'm there on the Twitch and the Twitter and the YouTube. I see Soak7 Plays. Good to see you, champion. I see Zellin. Good to see you as well over in Twitch. Listen, where did this guy's comment go? Because it was a really good one. It was Brandon Waters, member there. Thank you, buddy. He says, how many of you just come here to argue? Jesus, it's annoying. I know. It really is. And just for future reference, the plan is to basically do proper Gabbin' and Games pre-recorded so I can just give you a quality podcast, do with it what you will. Then we're going to do something called Gabbin' and Games Live, which is not this. And that will be very curated who I bring on in terms of the comments because it's so obnoxious. And it's part of it's my fault because I have ADD and so I see something and it's bright and shiny in the comments. And even if we're deep into a discussion about play mechanics and, the new Zelda, I have to sort of take the bait. And then there's kind of open mic / free swim, which I'm still going to try to keep the discussions, germane. That's my brother. To the Shimo, to the content, but on free swim we get a little bit of leniency. We might go all over the place. We'll see. And of course we can, you can call in on this show. The other shows, not so much. If you want to call in today, the only thing you can call in is Discord. So I'll just kind of look to the chat. I have some things I want to share, but let me see what you guys are talking about right now. Friday as fuck says, Jaffe, what's your opinion on AI generated video games? It's interesting you say that. I had a Twitter conversation today with a buddy of mine. She was the editor of the high school yearbook, and I was on the high school yearbook, and I have not talked to her since graduation night. And she reached out to me. She has a recruiting company, and she's like, hey, would you talk to this kid who is thinking about going into video games, but he's also kind of wondering about that, wondering about maybe AI instead. And I said, yeah, and so yes, of course I will speak with him, and I'm looking forward to doing so. But it's interesting your question because honestly, I'm making a video game right now. It's just me and ChatGPT. It's very simple. It's an 80s arcade style game, and I'm not doing any programming because other than basic, I can't program. And I'm simply speaking to ChatGPT like I would speak to a programmer back in the day and saying, hey, I have this idea. Can you do this? And it says, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I like this, but not this. Can you change this? And it says, yeah, and it's not perfect. There's a lot of weird bugs and stuff. And it's not where it's going to be. But the point is though, what do I think about AI generated video games? I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think you're basically moving towards, and I know people don't like this vernacular, but I'm going to use it. I heard, what's the guy's name? Mark Andreessen, the guy who was played by Timberlake in The Social Network and, was one of the key founders or investors and stuff in the internet and browsers and whatnot. big investment guy now in Silicon Valley, and he's talking about the idea economy. And I know a lot of creatives hate that. They don't like the idea of an idea guy. They like to say that it's all about the execution. I don't know why they've become Richard Nixon, but there you go. It's all about the execution. And it is. But AI tools are coming along that are allowing us to execute quicker and without a certain skill set that I understand the nobility of protecting and celebrating and trumpeting the skill set of like, but I had to learn to program. I had to learn to do art. I had to learn to do music. I get it. But, you know, there were people who back in the day had to learn to drive the horse and buggy. It's a cliche. It's a trope, but that's a good, you know, analogy. Now I can drive wherever the fuck I want to go. I don't need to hire someone who knows how to do the carriage and the horse thing. And so I am a fan. I think as long as we get legislation, which we do not have yet, which makes it fair and respectful and financially viable for the people whose work that these AIs are training off of, then I'm all in. I think it will result in a massive disruption of jobs, not AI video games, although partially yes, but in general. And apparently ChatGPT is supposed to be coming out this week is the rumor, with something they're calling the Whale, which is their kind of version of ChatGPT 5, which is apparently a big fucking leap from 4.0, which is what I currently am on. And then the one above it is this thing called Strawberry or Q, which is the reason that they fired, if you remember that, is it Altman, the guy who ran and co-founded it? Because his co-founder was like, you guys are not putting guardrails up. Whatever Strawberry Q is apparently is like almost general intelligence at this point. And so, but that's not what they're going to announce this week. The rumor is they're announcing this, the Whale, which is 5 this week. So the point is, I think anything that can help us make entertainment better, and sometimes that just means a tool that you can have. I mean, imagine somebody like Steven Spielberg or a musician that you love, that you like Prince, or just somebody whose mind is just always at work in a really interesting way. And it's like, yeah, that person could go off and learn for 5 or 6 years to program, or that person could sit in front of a microphone like we're doing now and go, I have this idea. Can you work with me, ChatGPT, to kind of see if this is fun and interesting? And, you know, why is that a bad thing? So no, I'm a big fan. I'm all over it. I love it. And I think it's absolutely the future, 100%. Jaffe says, Zeke, I thought your video with your AI pal was pretty good. Yeah, thank you. I just put this up the other night, maybe even last night, but I played, you can watch the video. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I'm going to go to the chat in a second, but you know, I played 7 Days to Die with ChatGPT, and I had it. I don't have the one that comes through my desktop yet. That's only for Apple. So I had my phone up here mounted, and I said, hey, you and me, let's role play like we're survivors in this game. And the guy knew all about the game. It's only a guy voice right now. Otherwise it would sound just like Taylor Swift if it was up to me. And yeah, and it was really cool, man. It was really cool to be able to sit there and role play, but also go, hey, how do I craft this thing? Or what do these magazines do? And actually have almost like a coach teaching me how to play the game. Deadhead64 over on the Twitch says, Jeff, did you already talk about Ready at Dawn closure? I imagine you had some experience working with them back in the day. Yeah, well, I mean, I did. It was on one of my videos last week, but the gist is, as most people know, Ready at Dawn was closed down. They were bought by Meta. I'm going to tell you something. I was thinking about this because I saw a Jason Schreier, well, let's be clear, little Jason Schreier interview he was doing on some podcast, and one of the things that was clipped was where he said that they had spent 4 years working on The Last of Us Factions, the online version of The Last of Us, and crazy amounts of money, hundreds of people. And he said heads rolled, basically. It was paraphrasing, but the idea is people got fired because of that failure. And it got me thinking about, you know, I mean, I worked with Ready at Dawn on a couple of things. I very much have respect for those guys. They're wonderful people. I don't know how easy they are to work with, so I can't tell you at the end of the order when that game didn't deliver. Did they have a new deal with Sony, but they said, go fuck yourselves, guys. You broke our game. You didn't market it well, and we'll go do something else with someone else? Or was it like they'd love to keep working with Sony, but Sony's like, nope, you failed. Get the fuck out of town. I have no idea. But I will tell you that whether you're talking about the Naughty Dog game and whoever got fired, and I was trying to do the math in my head, and I don't know if the timing lines up. I would have to look, because I never found out really what caused Connie Booth to be pushed out of Sony. But maybe that the timing lines up there. So maybe she was one of the heads that rolled. And if you don't know Connie, incredibly successful, important to that organization for many decades, the longest employee there since like 1991. Amazing pedigree, amazing resume. She's at EA now. But I look at that, I look at the order, if the order was kind of like, hey, get out of town because you failed. I look at what I hope does not happen to Concord, and I just, it's really weird. I mean, look, I can't speak to the current management style of Sony, just because I haven't been there in any meaningful way in like 5 years, 6 years. But I just wonder about how they embrace failure and if they allow people to fail. Because to get rid of Connie Booth because of that, let's assume she did make a mistake. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But let's assume she shat the bed. This is a woman who clearly has more to offer. If that's the reason they pushed her out, I'm not saying it is, I have no idea, that would be shitty. If you can't look at the pedigree of Ready at Dawn, their PSP games, Vita, whichever ones they did with God of War and Daxter, and then The Order, and go, yeah, they fucked up. That was a bad game. It wasn't a bad game, but it was a failure commercially, and go, oh, well, let's give them another shot. Similarly with the Concord team. I think the Concord game is going to shit the bed spectacularly. But I still think that's a great team. And the idea that, oh, yeah, they're going to get shut down. Why? Why the fuck would you shut down a team that's absolutely filled with that level of talent? Doesn't make sense. Listen to this, man. We got a super chat from one of our great members. Thank you, buddy. Zanarkand 505. Yeah. The fuck kind of name is that? What's up, Papa Jaffe? He says, have you checked Andy Pants Gaming? Who killed masculinity in video games? Would love to hear your take from it. I will watch that on the show right now if it's not very long. Is it a relatively quick video? Can somebody look up Andy Pants Gaming? And if it's like a 4 or 5 minute clip or there's a part you want me to watch, I'd love to watch it. It sounds like something I totally would like to shit all over, frankly, because I find the whole what happened to masculinity just a fucking grift. But I'd love to watch it, man. Yeah. So I always thought, says Cody Rivera, that Sweet Tooth could work in a hack and slash between car combat. I mean, I was not working on Twisted Metal, what did they call that one? The one, Harbor City, where he could get out of the car and all this shit. Yeah, if the video is 13 minutes, find the important part you want me to watch and send me a link with a time code. Just, you can do that with just link it to the time code and I'll put it up and watch it. But so, I mean, I've always thought the Twisted Metal series is, I'm not done with the super chats, Bobo. I've always thought the Twisted Metal series, could do so much more as an IP in video games. So, that would certainly be one of them. I know Splatterhouse is one of those games people look at with great reverence and nostalgia, but it doesn't hold up that well. But just not a remake, but a game where you basically it is a 3D. Remember when we first got 3D and people started making those games like, I'm blanking on examples. None of them were all that great. They were kind of beat 'em ups, but 3D, right? It was the Streets of Rage, but for 3D. Not like the Bouncer, that was more cinematic. But I would love to see a really clever, interesting, kind of 3-hour Sweet Tooth hack and slash beat 'em up like that. I think that would be fantastic. Michael says, Jaffe, have you talked about the Game Informer closure? Yeah, because look, I got my final issue today. I thought the final issue was going to be the Dragon Age one, which was kind of disappointing to me because I really am interested in the casting of Frank Stone, which is the Dead by Daylight single player by Supermassive. And that was, that was on their website, but the website's gone. That was what their big issue was about. I figured this was just canceled, but no, it turns out this actually did come in the mail today. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to, I've already flipped through it, but I might make this our next Let's Read this week. Given that it's the final issue, what are they going to do? Sue me? Oh, no, fuck you. They can't. I guess they could, but yeah, here's what I'll tell you about this though. Is that there is a tactile analog delight to reading a magazine, and there is a nostalgia about Game Informer, and now there is a sadness about Game Informer. But the fact of the matter is, it's very difficult for analog magazines to justify, including this one. I subscribed to it. I was happy to. I was going to continue to do it. It was a lot of fun to get it in the mail, but I didn't want to read it cover to cover. I got most of the news before it hit. And frankly, none of their deep dives were like, holy shit, that was an amazing, insightful article. It was still pretty surface. So I love magazines, but it's, they haven't really, the physical ones haven't really justified their existence, is what I would say. Soak7 says, will you be trying PSVR 2 on PC? No, not at all. I have my MetaQuest 2 hooked up to my PC. I'll do that. I do that. But that's a huge bitch. Yeah. But I don't really have any desire to own another VR headset at all. I just don't see the point. I am very excited for AR, augmented reality stuff. Fuck yeah. But no, I don't really care about getting a new headset. Not at all. Not at all. Let me get some of these chats here. I appreciate them, buddies. Thank you very, very much. We got Twisted Sith, of course, for 29 months. Thank you, buddy. He says, Jaffe, talk again about why you made the infamous Desert of Lost Souls in God of War. Is it because you are a toxic asset? Partially. But what I will tell you is that when I got sued, well, okay, this is not a long story, but there's a couple of things. So when we got sued because these people thought we ripped off God of War, which what? And they had something in their movie or book or whatever they were saying we had seen and ripped off called something about Lost Souls. And in the lawsuit, they were claiming it's okay, Jaffe ripped this off because Lost Souls, nobody uses the term Lost Souls. What are you talking about? That's almost a totally original idea. And I was just like, what? Lost Souls is my wife, when we were married, called me a lost soul in Borders bookstore in Westwood. I'll never forget the day. The desert of the Well of the Souls and Lost Souls, because these were spirits wandering the desert. I was like, what do you people, I think I don't want to, be mean to these guys, although they did sue us for no reason. I don't know if they were just after money or what, but I was just like, what the fuck? But anyway, that mechanic, which is, if you haven't played the original God of War, you're moving through the desert, but your visibility is like nothing, 2 feet in front of you, and you're using audio to figure out where your enemies are, right? That was actually taken from a very early paper design for the Iron Man video game that we were inches from signing with me and Scott and Kellen and the guys out in Utah at Single Track Incognito. And it was going to be one of the opening missions where Tony Stark flies into this burning skyrise. This was before 9/11. And he's got to rescue people, but he can't see anything, right? So, and his sensors are fucked up because he had a battle with this bad guy called Whiplash. And so he's using just the audio to kind of, figure out where in this 3-dimensional volume are these victims he needs to pull out before the building collapses. So that's my story. Jaffe, thank you very much. I need something to be happy. 57. We should discuss that, sir. Hey, Mr. Jaffe. Hello, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. I would like to know what your point of view about PC handhelds nowadays, like the Steam Deck, OLED, or Asus ROG. I can never say that one. My opinion is they're great because people who have them seem to adore them and love them. I don't have any interest in them at all. for two reasons. One is that I rarely go outside. It's not like I have a commute. I know a lot of people say, oh, I play on my couch. But, if I'm sitting out there in the living room, I'm either playing a game on the TV or I'm on my phone or I'm watching a show. So my lifestyle doesn't really bring me a need to have a handheld, frankly. Even if I'm on the toilet, I'm just kind of like reading or something or playing on my phone. Gross. It's true. Fuck you. Never borrow anybody's phone. It's covered with fecal matter. Microscopic, but it's fecal matter. Point being, though, and also I'm older, so my eyes aren't so good as they used to be. So I'm always having I can't really immerse myself when I have to wear my glasses to go, what's that HUD say? What's that hit point? Is it 4 or an 8? But I know people love them, and so I think they're great. I still find it like beyond reasoning that we do not have a cell phone that's for gamers. I am so baffled by this. I don't understand it. I've talked about this before, and no one's ever given me a good answer. Every answer just sounds like horse shit marketing speak, which is this. They put out these phones that can run Death Stranding and Resident Evil Village, like Apple, even though they're failing miserably, those particular pieces of software. And yet they still seem to be okay with not just one company put out a phone with some fucking controls. Give me a clamshell like the PSP Go. Let me slide it up when I want to play the game. Let me slide it down when I want to use it as a phone or a smartphone. And you don't have to be the next Apple. You don't have to sell as many as Apple. But my God, there's enough gamers out there that play on the go with their phones that could one fucking company. And people say, oh, you got to get a backbone, which is I have one somewhere here, which is the controllers that stick on the end of your phone. And I'm just like, go fuck off. Who is going to walk around? I mean, it's just so dumb. It's like, it reminds me before smartphones came around. If you remember this, there were all these little carts at the mall and they sold all these just bullshit peripherals. Or it reminds me of the day when you had a Game Boy Advance, but you couldn't see it. So you had to get another peripheral and stick it on top, and it was a light. And then the light also had a magnifier, so you could actually use the goddamn thing you bought. And I'm just like, that's what it feels like when people say, get the backbone. No. Somebody come along and make a quality, decent phone that has fucking buttons. I don't want to play Resident Evil Village with goddamn slide controls. I'll tell you something else real quick. And I don't think Tommy would care anymore. But I was out at in television back when they were kind of trying to get this thing off the ground. And I'll tell you, because it's not proprietary. I didn't know this. You guys may know this. But the way it worked was, I played the games, whatever you want to say about Tommy. I remain a big fan of Tommy. I don't believe what a lot of you guys are. I don't think Tommy tried to fuck over anybody. He bit off more than he could chew, and that's what dreamers do. He's had big hits. He's had big misses. Rather have that than somebody who sits quietly in a cube all of their fucking life and never takes a chance, right? So that's my take on Tallarico. I'm a fan. And I know it hurt him a lot that this thing didn't go. But anyway, it was a console. It played very family-friendly games. I played a handful of them with those guys. And if you didn't have a Amico controller, right, you can use your phone. And they said, try it. I said, I hate playing with phone controls. They said, no, we're shipping. And I thought this was proprietary at the time, so I thought this was genius. I thought out of everything they had that they showed me down in Anaheim, the most cool thing were these little suction cups. And they fit on your phone, and they stuck to your phone. And then you could basically play like you actually had sticks. So instead of carrying around a fucking backbone, you could just take two of these little suction cups and stick them in your pocket whenever you're walking around with your phone. It's not ideal, but it's better than what I have. But apparently you can buy these off Amazon now, so it's not like it was an Amico special. Eternal says Sony has phones that have slide in and out gamepads. I don't think so. Xperia used to. But if you're telling me, I looked it up the other day, if you're telling me I can go buy a phone tonight or tomorrow, whenever, that has that, please send me a link. Please fucking send me a link. I would appreciate that. Listen, somebody send me the Andy Pants thing too. I want to watch that. Jaffe, says Salvador, 23 months. Thank you, buddy. He says, Jaffe likes sex with folding chairs. Why? How does that even work? Make me a mod to bring true justice to the Discord. For real, Concord will be the Borderland movie of games. Okay, well, that's a lot in there, buddy. I don't understand how you have sex with a folding chair. Are you saying I like to use a folding chair during sex, or I literally want to put my penis somewhere inside the folding chair mechanism? Concord, yeah, Concord, the Borderland movie opened with $4 million. It was an over $100 million film. What are you going to do? But yeah, I don't think most people are walking around anticipating a big hit there. No, when it comes to Concord. Connor Norton. By the way, somebody, like I said, if somebody's going to send me if somebody can send me that link, man, I would love it, because I do want to watch that thing about the masculinity in video games and whatnot. I'm trying to see. YouTube just used AI to tell me what the chat was saying. Here, this is what you guys are saying. This is the chat summary according to AI right now. Viewers are discussing whether the new iPhone could potentially be a flip phone. I think it might. And arguing, wait, come back. It doesn't stay up. And arguing about the pros and cons of various controllers designed for phone gaming. AI is the shit, baby. Okay. Okay. Connor says, any thoughts on VP pick Tim Walz? You know what's funny? I did a Constellation the other day or last week. I think it's live now, even if you're not a member on Last Stand Media, about politics. It was me, Colin, Gene, and was it Chris Reagan? It might have been Chris Reagan. I don't know. I think it might have been. That's good, Jeffy. I think it might have been. And I said to somebody when we were talking about politics, I said, you know, honestly, I'd vote for a sack of potatoes, anybody but Trump. And somebody put a comment up that's like, that's, you know, I'm like, bitch, I've been into politics and I have been politically engaged since I was like 15 and I am 53. Do not come at me, you motherfucker, and try to tell me about the philosophical pros and cons of vote. He's like, he's drinking the Kool-Aid. No. Okay. I understand your point, but your point is nuanced and this is not a nuanced situation. So my point being is that I like Walz, but even if I didn't like Walz, even if I didn't like Kamala Harris, I would vote for them because I think Trump is that bad and that dangerous and that awful. I appreciate if you don't, but this is one of those elections, in my opinion, where it's not even about who the Democrats are running. It's not even, no one else is going to win. Doesn't matter. I'm not voting for, I don't hate or love or like RFK Jr. He's got some good ideas and bad ideas. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, yeah, that's not the noble thing. The noble thing is to vote for the one you really like. Well, you know what? I don't have that option right now because if I vote for anybody other than the Democratic candidate, who I do happen to like, we get Trump. Not if but I'm saying if people think that way. So this is pretty black and white. Pretty black and white. You're voting for Cornel West as Controller Sports. I like Cornel West. I mean, he doesn't have a chance in hell of winning, but that's fine. You know, vote for whoever you want to vote for. I don't care. I really don't care. But what I will tell you is, and I do like Cornel West too. I mean, I don't know how good of a president he would be, but I do think that he's very smart and very interesting in a lot of his theories. So, okay. Jaffe, what gaming news do you have on the table for us? Bulbul, I don't know. Holy shit, they found a second photo of JD Vance in drag, says Morgan. Good to see Morgan. I don't think he was in drag. I think but you know, that's what they're going to say now. But I think it was like him, you know, back in the day when, you know, there was a time, and he's much younger than I am, but there was a time where it's like, oh, look at me, I'm a guy. But look, we're dressed up like ladies. Isn't that so weird? That was comedy. Don't ask me why, but it was. Remember you probably don't. Maybe you saw the movie Revenge of the Nerds. And it's like all the big jocks dressed up as cheerleaders, like for a charity thing. And I was like, oh, that's so silly. He's a guy and he's big and he's all hairy and shit, but he's wearing a dress, right? I mean, that's what I think the JD Vance stuff is, but great. If he is actually in drag and he's a guy who likes to put on women's clothes, great. I don't care. I only care because he's a hypocrite. But I absolutely don't care if he's into that. It's not disqualifying for me at all. I don't care if he fucks couches. I don't think he does, but I don't care if he can fuck the shit out of my lazy boy if he wants to. But if he's got good policy and he's going to be good for the country, I don't think he is. I think he's a nightmare. Yeah. Name says we had a beauty contest for guys in high school called Mr. Ugly. It was a drag contest. Right. I mean, that's the thing. Parker Nightfly says anybody who buys their own groceries with their own money is voting for Trump. Again, go with God. Vote for Trump. I don't care. No one cares who you vote for. They really don't. I don't think Trump is going to win. I'm going to ask you guys a question about Trump just at a aesthetic level, though. I am curious about this. I saw this press conference he did, and this is not about politics. But he literally has he has spray tan. They I don't know if it's spray or the roll. I don't know how they do it, but he has, that's why people call him the orange guy or whatever, because he puts on a fake tan. Fine. I'm not judging. I don't give a shit. I'm pale as a ghost. If I could snap my fingers and have a tan, I would, if it was healthy. But then he does this press conference the other day without any of that. And I was just very surprised by that. I don't know if that was like a tactic, like, okay, maybe if I start looking older, because he looked old for the first time. I understand that he's almost 80. I'm not acting like, what do you mean he's not 50 years old or 40 or 30? I understand that the guy is old, but he never really looked old. But this was the first time I saw him without the makeup. And I was like, holy cow, that guy looks like an 80-year-old man. And I'm just wondering, I mean, he's not an idiot. Why would he go out there without his makeup? I don't understand. Bobo says, Jaffe, Nate the Hate says PlayStation 2025 will be PlayStation's biggest year. I saw that. I guess he's a leaker or he's a analyst or whatever. So, it was interesting. Yeah, he was basically saying Sony's been quiet for so long and they're cooking up a lot of stuff, and 2025 is going to be this massive fucking year. And it might. I mean, when you think about it, obviously Ghost Tsushima seems like it's going to be a lock. There's the Spider-Man or the Wolverine games, whatever. I don't think we might see an announcement, but I don't think we'll be seeing Sony's new IP coming from Santa Monica yet. So I think the fact of the matter is games just take a really, really long time. And I think that there is a point where these big games coming from a single source, I just don't see how I don't think we're ever going to get back to the days where it was like, holy shit, banger after banger after banger after banger. I think those days for your console aren't necessarily over, but your days getting that from first party may very well be over. JJ says, yeah, Venom could be out, Tsushima 2 and Wolverine. That'd be great. That would be great. Name says Sony needs a big year because Nintendo and Xbox are going to come out swinging. Yeah, I can tell you that Xbox, and I haven't turned my Xbox on in ages, but I play Game Pass all the fucking time. And I'm even though I know that Strass Zelnick, who runs 2K, he said that we expect Call of Duty Black Ops 6 to be massive for Game Pass, but we don't know if they're really going to be able to sustain that momentum. And I think it's a great point. I mean, it depends. Is Indie going to be great? Is Avowed going to be great? There's a couple other ones that are big in that window. If maybe they're off to the races, maybe not. I don't know. Jonas Larson, interesting. He says the Wolverine game better be a lead-in to an X-Men game. If they've got to make a game with some of the worst baddies of the DC universe, why doesn't X-Men have a game on the docket? Here, it's interesting. Oh yeah, South of Midnight name. It's interesting though. You know, I was thinking about this because I was playing. I know why I was thinking about this. I was reading a comic, and in the comic there was an ad for this old comic for like Marvel used to put out so many games back in the NES, there's more SNES and Genesis days. And it was like every year you'd get a new X-Men game. And it wasn't even like, oh my God, there's Venom. It was just like, oh, it's almost like reading a comic book. It's like, oh, the X-Men game, but it also has Spider-Man cameos and Captain America, whatever. And I was just kind of like going, I've yet to play, even though I did enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy, and I did enjoy Suicide Squad to an extent. But making a team-based superhero game, I think no one's really, I could be missing something, but I don't think anyone has really cracked that yet. And I don't even know what that would look like. Like in your fantasy, you go, oh, well, that would be a multiplayer game. But not really, because one of the strong things about Marvel is not, is the storytelling. And it's kind of hard to get immersed in a story when you are on a microphone with 5 other people going, dude, no, fucking trust me, dude, go down there and you wait. And it's like, that doesn't feel like Marvel. That just feels like a sport that you're playing with your friends, right? So Guardians did a great job of putting it all together in a single player unit, but it's still, I don't know. I don't know how you would actually capture a team-based Marvel game in a way that is pretty fucking cool, but I hope so. And I think you're right. I think that you have to do a X-Men game at some point. Hey, there's Jojo D. Good to see you, buddy. Oh yeah. Parker Nightfly says the Insomniac leaks did show an X-Men game that was planned. Right. I mean, I'm sure that's coming, but I also thought they showed the Spider-Man that leaked as well. The Spider-Man Web of Destiny or whatever it was, that was the multiplayer Spider-Man. And I think it's not terribly unsmart to cancel it. I mean, it just looked like Spider-Man multiplayer, which maybe that's enough for some people. But for me, I'd be like, okay, so the navigation's cool. And then I land and I have really cinematic combat with my friends and it's just rinse, repeat. I wouldn't want to fucking play that. Yeah. Lego Marvel Superheroes was pretty good. That's true. And Midnight Suns was a great game too. But that was more of a slow paced game where you could, join a book club with Blade, right? You could actually build that camaraderie that you see in the comics. Just because something is leaked doesn't mean it's coming, says PK. No, in fact, this is not coming because this was canceled. So Jojo D says, would you consider a membership poll and choosing your green screen background for an upcoming live screen? Sure. Why not? I mean, I actually had a couple of them lined up today, Jojo D, because originally it was going to be this one. And it was just because, like I said earlier in the show, I was talking to my buddy from high school, and it got me thinking about Alabama, and how I just loved the summer rains in Alabama, and we don't really get those here in San Diego. And so I'm always fucking around with it. I mean, I still like my real background, but you get a green screen, you want to play with it for a little bit. But yeah, absolutely, no worries. Why can't a co-op game, says Samian, come with a compelling story? It absolutely can. But what I'm saying is the mentality, at least that I go into when I play a co-op game or any kind of multiplayer game, is I very quickly separate myself from the narrative and the immersion and whatnot, and it just becomes sport. Like when I'm playing Call of Duty, I don't feel like I'm really in war and oh shit, we lost Johnson just got shot in the head. I'm just like, okay, you go there, I go here. You don't feel it like that, or at least I don't. So the minute you put another person in the game, it starts being about my stories I make with that person, which are totally outside of the fiction, is what I would say. That's why it doesn't do much for me. Jaffe, speak on the transgender Olympic boxing scandal. There is no transgender Olympic boxing scandal. I think my position on it would be clear, and I'm happy to speak to it because it's Mute Mo says Johnson. No, yeah, I'm telling you. But apparently there was no scandal. It was two women fighting each other. And if anything, it continues to prove my point, which is deciding who is a match for someone else is actually a bad idea to use what is betwixt your legs. Because in this case, these were both cisgendered women born and identified as women, and they remain women. But clearly, the woman in red, wherever she was from, was not a good match. Her bone density, her testosterone, whatever it was. Yeah, exactly. A says they need skill-based matchmaking in the Olympics. Exactly. That solved, right? Totally fucking solved. But they don't do it because it's a good wedge issue. People like to bitch about it and, whatever. Speaking of, by the way, I want to show you this real quick on the screen. So I was on Constellations, and this guy wrote this. This is kind of apropos to what you're talking about. But I just want him to know if he's out there watching, I'm ready. I'm ready for you, pal. He wrote this kind of snarky comment relating to me. And so I responded to the fella, and I says to him, Daddy, chill. No, that's not what I said. Hang on. I said...
I would like to rear up and jackknife my legs and kick you both with my foot bone.
There's truth to that, but that's not what I said either. Hang on, it's right here. I have 3 monitors. You'd think that would be enough. But alas, it isn't. It's not. He basically says to me, hey man, you get your damn hands off her. He says, hey man, let me just go to it. Fuck it here. Let's just go to it. Last Stand Media. Okay. There we go. I'm glad you can hear the rain, Ralph. That's cool. I'm bad at sound. So where's this thing he says to me? Because basically I was hoping he would come on the show today. Because he wrote this thing. Sorry, I was prepared. I just don't know where it went. He's talking about me and Gina and stuff. He says, how much money do I need to pay Last Stand Media to get on and talk to me? I know you love him as a developer, but Jesus Christ, when it comes to political and social economic issues, the guy doesn't know his elbow from asshole. His entire point of view is motivated by protecting his trans child. And so I said, you don't have to pay me anything. Just come on the show. He says, okay. And I said, cool. Come on today. He says, Monday. I said, that works whenever you're free. So if anybody knows first, last 4888, hit me up. I'd love to talk to this guy. You goddamn right, Soak 7 plays. George McFly, baby. Okay. Did I see the news that Krafton acquired Hi-Fi Rush IP and Tango Gameworks? Yeah. It's funny though. It's to me, I think it's kind of funny, only because, people are now like, oh yay, victory, win, and it's like, you know what? I don't disagree. I mean, there's a real question to be asked about how much of the talent that made that company what it was already left to go to Mikami's new company, and apparently a lot of them did. But that said, though, the director of Hi-Fi Rush is still there. Wait, now you can barely hear me? This is what I'm saying. See, it's very hard. 1 second. All right, let's just go with this. Let's just go back to what was working. Stop fucking with shit, Jaffe. Just leave it alone. I'm not mad that people kept their jobs. I'm saying that the idea that now, oh, thank God they're back. We can go back to what? Ignoring their games. It's not like you guys bought a shit ton of Evil Dead 2. It's not like even Hi-Fi Rush, if it hadn't been on Game Pass, it wouldn't have been that done that well. But I loved it. I mean, I'm in, Gun says Ubisoft exec told Pactor that they would have bought Arcane. Crazy these studios get shut down rather than sold off. Well, sure, but at that point, just reach out to the team. I mean, reach out to who's left and go, hey, do you guys want to start a new team? We'll fund it. It's not like you missed any opportunity. What are you hiring? The chairs? The cubicles? No, you're hiring the people. So if you're Ubisoft and you really feel that way, go do it. I never thought it was a victory since we never know how much they're actually going to put into the company. Yeah. Ravnos, yes, it's free chat. Absolutely. $6 says, it's none of our business, but have you talked to Dustin? How is he? How are his spirits? Well, no, I've not talked to Dustin. I mean, I tweeted to him. I sent him a DM. He saw it, sent me a little note. That was it. I mean, Dustin and I, not because I have any issues with him, but he lives across the country. I've only met him a couple of times virtually. I've never met him in person. So we're not close enough that we would really have anything other than me writing him going, oh my God, you know, my condolences. I'm so sorry. My heart is breaking. If there's something you can think of that I can do, I'm here for you, but you know, whatever. I didn't say, but whatever, but that was kind of the extent of it. But yeah, I mean, fuck. Yeah. What a horrible thing. What a horrible thing. Sarge says, wait a minute. Which Arcane would they have bought? The one in France or the one in Texas? The one in Texas, the one that got shut down, is what they were talking about. A says, and I agree, it's a good point. The Warner Brothers games news is interesting, which is basically they're looking to sell off, either license their IP or sell off parts or the entire division of the games. It seems if they sell it, it would be without the IP that goes with it. So they're looking to unload something no one wants to buy. Right. It's like, hey, do you guys want to buy have a what do they call them? Acqui-hire? Like, you know, you want to acquire the team, the executive team that greenlit Suicide Squad? Cool. So yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're not getting Mortal Kombat, it's kind of useless. I would love to see Mortal Kombat. I would love to see a publisher get a hold, even if they're licensing it through Warner Brothers, and do like a big budget 3D version of, remember when Mortal Kombat used to do like there was like a Jax adventure on PS1 or 2, and there was a Ice Guy, fucking Ice Guy. What's the guy's name? Sub-Zero adventure. I'd be up for that. That would be cool. But short of that, what are you buying? I think there's one other IP they have that really isn't that strong, but it's okay. I was like, okay, maybe you could do something with that, but Pub Monkey, good to see you, buddy. First time chat over on the Twitch. He says Warner Brothers seems like burning the bar down for the insurance money at this point. I just don't think they they don't know what they're doing over there. Or more importantly, it's this executive guy who's running the joint. I think again, back to Colin on his new Constellations we did last Friday, we were talking about Warner Brothers, and I was like, I just wonder, it's not that I'm opposed to acquisitions and mergers and all this, if it makes sense, and sometimes it makes a lot of sense, but there's a point where you get to a company and it gets so big that unless you're making widgets or tires or luggage or just something that's very, basic, and yeah, you can have improvements and compete, but the core issue is always the core issue of the product. When you're doing that with creative products, and then you're doing them with creative products across different mediums, different art forms, I just think it's too fucking big, because anybody whose ears to the train track that has power would know good and well that Suicide Squad should not have been greenlit. And I liked Suicide Squad. I'm not bitching about it. Or would know that now they had the #1 selling game last year, better than Call of Duty. And what do? They're like, let's make a Harry Potter Quidditch free-to-play game, which I played the beta. It was terrible. It's coming out on PlayStation Plus, or I don't know if it's PlayStation Plus or it's just coming to PlayStation exclusively or timed exclusive. Maybe it's gotten better. It's been a year since I played it, but it wasn't good. And I'm like, that's what you're doubling down on? I mean, I agree. Warner Brothers bought Midway, says Travis, not exactly the best decision makers. It was a great decision. They bought the goddamn Midway and they got Mortal Kombat. What are you talking about? There's a lot of stuff they got. Quidditch, says Ravnos, will easily make a profit. It might. I mean, I think it's free to play, and it was not good at all. And this was a year ago. So maybe it's gotten great in that time, but I'd be stunned. Lee Perez, thoughts on Borderlands bombing. I mean, I have not seen it. There's not one neuron in my brain firing suggesting I ever see it. Even before I heard it was terrible. Borderlands is one of those. Borderlands feels like a movie that was greenlit in the same way Battleship was greenlit as a movie, or those video game movies that was like, well, let's greenlight a video game movie because somebody knows the brand. But you cannot tell me, short of a very small little group of fans, people were walking around going, it's a really good story and a really good world for a story that the audiences will just lose their shit. Borderlands. No, they're not. It's just stupid. Just stupid. So that's what I would say, Lee Perez. Good to see you, buddy. If you like Suicide Squad, why not greenlight it? Because, first off, what I liked was the execution of a vertical shooter where I could jump between characters, and it felt really good. But as a product to greenlight, I'd be, why are you going with this team, which is barely known? Even the movies they're hits, but they're not mega superhero hits. And look around at the market, the days of sort of, you're not going to out Destiny. And if you are, you ain't going to do it like this, right? So, and I'm sure many people on the team, including the guys who co-founded the company and left, I'm sure they were not happy. They were probably at the very beginning going, no, this is stupid, but there you go. Gun says Hogwarts Legacy was made by the Disney Infinity team. A Warner Brother exec read in the trades that they were shutting down and called up the head, offered to match the team's salaries. That's great. And look what they did. That's fantastic. I hope that guy keeps his job. Right. Ravnos is saying that, yeah, I mean, if you look at, Eli Roth is hit or miss. Not all of his movies are bad, but certainly he wouldn't have been my first choice. And none of the what is it? What the fuck is it as a franchise? What are you greenlighting? Okay. Gay, boring little black. What? I don't understand what that means. Oh, you don't like Kevin Hart? Jaffe, did you play the Hogwarts Quidditch? Are you saying Quidditch? I played Quidditch, and no, I will not. I'm done. I played it a year ago. Unless people say, dude, this thing has gotten so good since you played it a year ago, then sure, then I'll look at it. But no. If it's roughly the same, I'm not interested. Pub Monkey wants to know what the odds are Hogwarts Legacy was a hit now that they're going to add microtransactions and stuff like for the sequel. Oh, I couldn't tell you. Warner Brothers is making such stupid decisions lately that it tracks that they would go, people loved the first one. Let's make another one. Let's rush it out and let's add the shit people don't like. It wouldn't surprise me. But if you're a good executive, you would say, don't do that. Because that's not what people are responding to with that particular game. Dystopia says so many great free-to-play games now. Genshin, Honkai Star. Yeah, and Zen Zone, whatever, is great. But I like them all, but I get bored of them very quickly. But the Zen Zone combat is fucking amazing. I did see, PK, that 2 new Halloween games are coming. I hope to God neither of them, or at least one of them, will not be one of these fucking asymmetrical horror games. I don't want it. I am sick of it. Again, this goes exactly back to what we were talking about with co-op fucking the narrative. When I'm playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I think is good, but I don't feel like I'm living in the universe. I feel like I'm talking to friends and going, okay, I'm going to make some noise and lead Leatherface away from you. And it feels like sport. So I hope to God that at least one of these Halloween games is going to be a narrative-based game. Whether you play as Michael Myers, I'm not ever going to call him the Shape. It's stupid. Whether you play as Michael Myers or whether you play as whatever the sister's name is, or somebody new, or Donald Pleasance's character, or maybe you jump between them. But I want to go into that world and be immersed in that world. I do not want to fucking play a Halloween game that's just Oh no, run. Michael's behind you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Not interested. I'm bored. Aren't you bored of those goddamn games, man? Sick of them. Denova says, did you hear about the quarterly profits for Max? No. Do share. I will tell you that I have been pleased because you guys know, if you watch the channel a lot, that I am a fan of subscription services across the board. And people have been, trying to hit me with the stick of, well, they're not profitable. They are now. Netflix was hugely profitable the last couple quarters. Disney Plus turned the corner. Paramount Plus turned the corner. I don't know if Max did or not. Phasmophobia, same thing. She says, what about games like Phasmophobia? Same thing. I would love to play those without anybody else, and I know you can, but I haven't tried. Good to see you, Super Joe, bro. Thanks, buddy. But I want to get lost in the immersion, and it doesn't really happen to me. Here's what's interesting. And I said something that I thought was very clever at a DICE speech I did once, and I still think it's very clever, but nobody else seemed to care. But it's very clever, which is there is a huge distinction between watching somebody in a cinematic in a movie, say a movie, having an experience that because you are removed from it and because there is manipulation happening to the presentation of it on the part of the director and the orchestra and the musicians writing the music and making music and all that, the performers, that experience is not the same as living the experience. So watching the opening scene of, Saving Private Ryan, you're able to have enough distance and there's enough filter of authorship that it becomes emotional for you. But if you were actually on the beach, just like if somebody burst into your work right now with a shotgun, in 20 years, somebody might be able to recreate that and film it and make the poignancy of that moment hit home. But when you're living it, you're not experiencing any of that. You're just like, it's not sport like it's that meaningless, but it's sport in the sense that it's about where do I go? Where do I hide? How do I crouch? You're not in the headspace to sort of analyze it and experience it through removed filters that are meant to be artistic. And in that's one of the reasons something like Phasmophobia or any of these co-op games don't work for me, because it's not about that. It's about just doing the moment to moment. So that would be my answer. Howdy. Hello, Man Cave. He says, if Sean Layden says the max console market is 250 million of the same people, will the hardcore game market die with us 80s and 90s kids, given that Fortnite kids don't care about narrative? It is a great question. I don't have the answer, but it's something I think about a relatively decent amount. Starting with the fact that I have, now my kids are both adults, but watching them come up in the sort of the launch age of these kind of service-based web games at first, like Club Penguin and Pixie Hollow, and then moving on to Fortnite and Roblox and Hollywood Planet and all this shit. And seeing how that is still kind of what a lot of younger audiences play. I'm not saying there aren't a bunch of 12, 13, 15-year-old kids that are obsessed every day this summer and lamenting that school's about to start because they are just like, fuck, man, let's get through Elden Ring and Erd Tree. But I don't think their number at that age is what it used to be. And so I don't think games are going anywhere other than just up, 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 up. There's games are going to become, they are already ubiquitous, but as a medium, as an art form, they're not going anywhere. But yeah, hardcore video games that you are sitting around and trying to figure out the bosses and trying to solve the puzzles. And those are never going to go anywhere, but they are absolutely not going to be the mainstay, which is one of the reasons I don't think Sony is in a good position for the long haul. I think they, unless they can find a way, and they're trying to broaden their slate, there's not enough people to sustain the kind of games they make eventually, is what I would say. Hey, there's my nephew Daniel. He says, Major Tom vibes going on in the background. That's right. Well, I moved. I'm living up above planet now. I'd live above the planet. I really, really would. Well, at least I wouldn't live there, but I'd go visit. Eddie T says Astrobot is bringing gaming back. Like I said, it's not going anywhere. It's just not going to be like Man Cave is asking about what Sean Layden said. It's not going to be able to sustain its dominance of the medium. But I think a lot of mediums go through that. I think, I think what the medium represents or what the medium delivers is always based on the audience that shows up for it. And as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you're going to have to spread your chips out on the table and make things that are for more people a wider net. I'm very curious. I know it's supposed to come out next year. We haven't seen much about it. I'm very curious about Amy Hennig's game. And I've said this before because I don't know if she just kind of said, fuck it. I don't know how to solve that problem. I'm just going to make Captain America Black Panther a traditional AAA action game where you can jump between these four characters. But that wasn't what she was going for when she first kind of went out in search of funding for something new. Because I do think that is the future, but no one's cracked the nut yet. If devs had an unlimited budget, says iGurney, would they ever finish a game or just keep adding stuff until interest burned out? I'm just wondering if big money execs are only about the profit or do they have a point when it comes to interfering with game devs? If devs had it, ask the guys who are making that spaceship game, Chris Roberts, much money has he raised? I think you get to a point where you put it out though, and you just keep adding stuff if it was unlimited until you just got bored or the audience went away and you're like, fuck it, let's make something else. If big money execs are only about the profit or do they have a point when it comes to interfering with game? Of course they're only about the profit. The only time they would really interfere would be if they think the developer is obviously going to lose them money, but that doesn't just mean you're spending too much money. It means, you want to put a giant penis in Gran Turismo and make it a car you can drive. And if it gets behind somebody and stays behind long enough, it sort of jizzes all over the car in front of them. Please don't do that. We're not going to let you do that. Why not? It's my creative art. I know, but the minute you do that, we're going to have a PR nightmare and we're going to lose a shit ton of money on this game and it's going to hurt the brand. So it's always about the money. It's always about the money. Man Cave says, I think if it's Super Chat, he says, how come you're not floating if you're in space? Because I have an anti-gravity spaceship. What am I, a fucking peasant? You think I'm going to go up here without any of that? And listen to this, by the way. Twisted Sith, thank you for the Super Chats. He says, ducats for using the word betwixt. You goddamn right. It's the best goddamn word in the world. That's not true, but it's a good one. It's a goddamn good one. By the way, if you are over on Twitch and you have Amazon Prime and you're just letting your Amazon Prime membership for the month burn a hole in your pocket, share it with your Papa Jaffe. Join the Diet Soda Soldiers over on Twitch, a.k.a. give me your fucking money and get in my belly. Yeah! I don't have a sound cue lined up, and so now it's just become awkward. But then I thought about it before I said that, and I was like, it's always awkward. It's always awkward. Give me your money and get in my belly.
How dare you?
There we go. There we go. All right. I want to show you guys some stuff now. We're going to switch gears a little bit. And we can always come back to games and whatever, but oh shit, Pete Turtle's in the waiting room. Let's bring on him for a minute. All right, hang on. How do I get him in? It's been a while since we've used Discord. Why can't I grab him in there? Hang on. Confirm. Turtle.
What's going on?
What's up, Pete Turtle? How you doing? Been a while. What's happening?
Well, I got banned.
You did not get banned.
The last time we spoke, I could have sworn you said, don't you ever call back here again.
I said, if you are going to keep doing kind of hate speech shit on your Twitter account, I can't have my show associated with that. And I haven't checked your Twitter account. I'm not like, catching up on you and shit. But I would assume.
Oh, well, that's a damn shame, considering we're friends, but go ahead.
I would assume that you've learned your lesson and you're like, you know what? Maybe all Jews are not bad. And by the way, I want to tell you something else. somebody in the Discord, I forget who it was asking about you, asking after you, as they say in the South. And you know what they said? They said they went to his Twitter account. I said, okay. And he was talking to somebody saying, not me, you, this is your words. I'm actually a fat guy and I have a daughter.
Yeah.
Is this true?
There is absolutely no truth to that.
But it was your Twitter account.
Well, if they would have continued reading the whole thing, I then responded to somebody else telling them I was 6'3" and I had a son.
You can still be a fat guy and be 6'3".
Oh, again, I was just lying on that whole thread. I would never post anything about me on my thread.
Hang on a moment. Hang on. Ben in the chat says, turtle again? Yeah, I'm out. Give me hey, Ben, give me an opportunity to craft your entertainment. I'm not going to keep him on all day long, but we haven't talked to him in a while. Let's see if he's changed. Let's see what he wants to talk about.
Let's see if I changed.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. First of all, if you looked at my Twitter for the past 3 or 4 days,
which really, Jezebeli says, yeah, I'm out too. Why? Why? Because there's somebody on that I don't agree with 99% of this guy, and I'm not going to keep him on forever. But let's see what he's got to say. Aren't you curious? Aren't you wondering why? What are you calling about? P Turtle, what do you want to talk about?
I got a message 2 days ago on my Twitter, 2 or 3 days ago. A couple of members said that I was no longer banned. So they said to call in next time that you were streaming.
Yeah.
And then they just alerted me. Well, one of them alerted me that you were streaming. So I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. I thought I was permanently banned.
No. Again, if somebody gets back to me and says, dude, he's using the N word or he's using the K word or the F word on his Twitter.
Can I use the N word?
You can do whatever you want. You're a goddamn adult and you have your own life.
No, but you believe I'm black.
If you're black, you can use the N word. Yes. And you can use the N word if you're white too, but don't ask me to, platform your ass.
Okay, but you will platform me if I'm black and say the N word.
It's not my place to tell a black person what they can and can't say as it comes to a word that historically has been a harmful piece of hate speech.
So you're basically saying, P Turtle, I will only allow you to say the N word if you are an N word. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think of people who are allowed to say the N word as N words. No.
Well, you're basically saying that's the reason why I can say it.
I don't think of black people as the N word.
So why are only black people allowed to say it?
Because black people are the word that most people use the word to represent in a way that is hateful and cruel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Well, anyway, I just wanted to call in and say, I forgive you, Jaffe, for banning me at the height of my fame. I had to basically start from zero.
Yeah.
And work my way back up on Twitter. I've gotten a little engagement since then. But if you looked at my Twitter, you would see I'm all over the place. Freaking I got attacked today by a lot of trans people.
Wow.
But then like 2 days ago, I was defending trans people and I was getting attacked by a lot of right-wingers. It's fun. I love the engagement. But,
let me ask you this. Somebody in the chat, JR Fink, says black fragility fostering. What does that mean, P Turtle? I've never heard that term before.
It means you treat black people like victims. So you cater to them. You do whatever they say. You tell them they're great at everything.
I don't think black people are great at everything.
With a 3.8 GPA. That kind of stuff.
But you're putting a lot of assumptions on me. I don't think black people are great. I didn't say
on you. I said that's what black fragility
at everything
is. I'm just saying that's what black fragility fostering is. I didn't say you do.
That's what he's saying. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I mean that is what it is. I mean, you look at my poor Asian brothers, and they can't get into Harvard with perfect scores. These poor guys.
Why would anybody want to get into Harvard? I don't even understand how that's a desire anymore to go.
I don't know.
Unless you want to be a doctor.
Right,
yeah, unless you need a very specific degree to do your job. Stay out of college. Don't be a moron.
Somebody said, do I have any game talk, Turtle? I'll be honest, man.
Yeah, you ain't. Toby Moss is asking that. You don't play games anymore.
I just got into the beta for what's that new fighting game that just came out?
Tekken 8?
2XKO? No, 2XKO.
Never heard of it.
That's going to be like the biggest fighting game in the world. It's free to play. It's the League of Legends.
Oh, and have you played it?
Yeah, I played it this weekend.
And how is it?
It's not bad. I don't like the characters. The characters are weirdos, but I will say this. they have a new control scheme that's kind of easy and complex at the same time. It's almost a little bit like Smash controls, but I don't know. It's hard to explain, but in order to do combos with them, it's pretty difficult. They might have cracked that code in kind of finding a balance for casuals and pro gamers, because
tell me the name of tell me the name of this thing again.
2XKO.
Hang on, I'm gonna look it up.
Dumbest fighting game name ever.
2XKO. There it is on the screen.
Yeah, they're saying it's gonna do well because the League of Legends fans are like really into these characters or something. I've never played League of Legends.
I think the art style's pretty nice. I'm looking at it right
like
now.
The art
How
style.
did you get into the beta? Can anybody get in, or do you have to get a code? Or
no, I signed up like 2 weeks ago, because I play fighting games. That's what I play.
Do you? Is it okay? But you think it's going to be one of those? Because this is free to play.
It's free to play.
And so this is going to be one of those that it's not that you're paying for power, but they are going to have a rotation of characters like Multiverses or Brawlhalla, right?
I don't know. What they're doing right now is that they're basically making you pay for this beta. Like I think they're going to have a pass, a battle pass or some crap like that.
Okay.
And it's going to be similar to what's the Warner Brothers Multiverses?
Yeah.
It's going to be something like that. And then who knows, if it fails, then we're going to take this down and come back with a full game. But
okay, got it. Okay. Well, no, I'm gonna sign up for it right after the show. Eternal says, I get not wanting fighters to do only blocking, but then you make a block breaking attacks or put in some sort of cooldown. Oh, he's saying there's no block button, which is weird in that game.
The game is very strange, but it's unique.
Okay.
It's broken right now, but anyway, at the end of the day, Jeffy, I'm glad I'm not banned. I'm glad you gave. What happened to my baby girl, Gina? Is she back?
I have not talked to Gina in a couple of weeks. I don't know what her plans are.
You don't think it's weird that I get banned and then Gina leaves?
I don't.
You don't think there's, a link between the two?
What would the link be?
That she clearly has a thing for P Turtle.
Okay, well, let's see if she calls back. I mean, she knows how to reach me. Here, in fact, let me call her right now. I'm going to call her right now. Hang on. I'm going to call her. Don't go anywhere.
Me and my girlfriend are not working out right now.
She may. Yeah, well. What happens when you date preschoolers?
Well, can I ask you something, Jeffy? Did you miss me while I was gone?
No.
Not even a little bit?
Not in the least.
Oh my God! I guess I'm the only one that actually is your friend here. I guess you were never my friend.
I just think you have a strange perception of. Hang on, I'm calling Gina right now.
She might not pick up unless you should text her first saying, "Listen, Turtle's looking for me." Otherwise, she might not pick up. Somebody said P Turtle is not playing the alpha. He's too beta. Are you kidding me?
Hey, are you there? Okay, I'm on the stream right now and you're live on the stream. Okay, do you mind?
There was a part of me that knew that before I picked up, and I think I do. I'm a little busy right now.
You're a little what?
I'm busy.
P Turtle's on the show. He says, he says, is the reason you don't call in anymore is because he got banned for a while and you miss him and you're into him.
I mean, sure.
When are you calling back in the show? What the fuck is more important than my show to you?
I'm studying to become a paralegal.
I don't give a fuck. You got to call in this week.
I do.
Call in this week.
I'm really busy.
Call in this week. Goodbye.
Well, I didn't hear what she said. What did she say?
Well, there you go, P Turtle. I don't know. Her career
I didn't
is.
get to hear what she said.
She said that she's studying to be a paralegal right now, and her career is way more important than you. And I said, yes.
Is that what she said?
And she said, I said, but P Turtle said that he thinks there's a link that you didn't call in because he left and you're into him. And she said, well, that's okay. That's interesting. That's something you could say with the English language.
Okay, there we go. I knew it.
Poor Degenerate's been a member for 24 months. He says, love you, Jaffe. I love you right back. Yeah. Samian says, she said, I said, are you into P Turtle? And she said, sure. Is what she said. I think you're having a dry spell. What's it like? I've never had one.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What do you mean a dry spell? Like
Gina's not into you.
She just said she was.
She said, sure. Sure, Jan.
Can I say something? There's this guy, PK99, who's been harassing me on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's your chat. She said Jordan is the GOAT. This guy has been harassing me.
Don't care.
For the past 4 days.
It's staggering how uninterested I am in this.
No. This is important because the Americans won gold in basketball.
Okay.
And I am a proud American. I'm going on my Twitter talking about how great it is that Americans won and brought the gold home and how LeBron James is the greatest. And he's been attacking me along with other people all over my Twitter. Let me ask you something. Are you proud that the basketball team won gold?
No, I don't give a shit.
What the? Am I the only person who cares about this country?
The fact is the Olympics are as corrupt as any other organization. The idea they are. I mean, look at the history of them. I'm not saying that the athletes. Wait a minute. I'm not saying that the athletes themselves are not to be celebrated and admired. Of course they are. They work their asses off, and some of them are incredibly impressive. But why would I be proud of America? I happen to be born here. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to support the team that went over to play.
This is why this country is dying. Because
are you proud of Simone Biles?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
I don't know. I'm just saying because I didn't help her. I didn't do shit to help her win the medals.
Let me ask you: have you ever rooted for a team that represented your home state?
Yeah, but it doesn't bring me pride. It makes me excited. I enjoy it.
Okay, so are you excited? Did you enjoy that the USA basketball team won?
No, because I didn't watch it. Because watching the USA play basketball against any other team in the country is like a crossover between the normal Olympics and the Special Olympics. And to act as if that is a contest that is going to be some kind of meaningful nail biter.
You are absolutely wrong, and you are ignorant on the topic. The world is caught up. The best players in the NBA are all European. And the last two games, the silver and the gold medal games, were some of the greatest basketball ever, and we were losing those games.
Let me ask you why that little Chinese girl tried to eat her medal.
I didn't see that. What is that? What are you talking about?
There were these two women. I think they were Canadian, and they got gold and silver. And then some, I think she was actually North Korean. I don't know what she was, but she was from one of the Asian countries. And the two Canadian women bit their medal. And I don't know if it's kind of something people do, like, haha, isn't that funny? Is it really gold? I don't know.
They've all been biting it. I think that's just.
And then the girl looks at them like, what the fuck are you people doing? And then she's like, I guess this is what you do. And
that's kind of been the theme.
Okay, I don't understand.
Yeah, because the Americans all did it. They all bit the gold medal. Actually, you can watch it, but you don't watch sports. You're not a real man. You need to get into a real sport, man.
What are you out of your fuck? I watch college football. I'm playing. First off, I don't associate masculinity with sports. I'm not a fucking child. But that said, though, I love baseball. I love the goddamn college football. I'm playing Madden right now. Can't wait for Auburn to start back up. I'm not done. I miss good boxing. I watch wrestling, even though I know it's not real. Shut up. I just signed up to ESPN Plus because my Disney Channel Plus expired. So I just signed up to ESPN Plus, and they have MMA, which I've never actually had before. Well, okay, but so I love sports, and the older I get, the more I like sports.
I hate UFC. It's for Mountain Dew drinking bastards.
Well, I have
people who play Halo. Like,
what's wrong with Mountain Dew?
Boxing, it's for weirdos. It's weirdos who don't care about their sperm. Boxing is a real sport. It's a sport that this
boxing's great.
Built on.
No,
it's the best sport ever.
I don't know if it's. Here's what I think. Fuck you, Bukaki. Here's what I think. I think that I'm the kind of sports fan that when you are watching greatness, any sport is worth watching, right? So I will watch. Like I watched a little bit. I was kind of really deeply into the WNBA about in the spring and early summer because of Caitlin Clark. Because I don't care what it was, but she could fucking hit the 3 points from a mile away.
Can I explain that for a second?
Although Colin thinks there's magnets on the ball, and there might be. I don't know. I've seen that video.
Well, Colin also thinks The Last of Us 2 is great, so you can't take everything.
I think The Last of Us 2 is great too.
That's why we also don't take.
Addy Pie says you don't play any sports, Jaffe. No, I don't. What do you play, bitch? You got a fucking scholarship to USC, do you, Addy Pie? You fat fucks. Sit down and stop masturbating for once.
I always played sports. You never wanted to play a sport.
I played baseball.
Let me ask you this: did you ever do a push-up in your life?
Yeah. Why? I just told you I played baseball. Did you do a push-up?
No. But have you ever done a push-up?
Yes, I've done push-ups. I'm not good at them. I have terrible core strength and upper body strength.
Can I ask you what made you do that push-up?
It wasn't a push-up. It was a series of push-ups.
Okay, what made you do a series of push-ups?
Probably a competition with some other people saying, how many can you do? I'm like, I don't know.
So it couldn't have been much.
Oh, no. I can't do many.
Well, you can't. You said you can't do 8 push-ups?
I said I can't do many.
Let me ask you this. If you can get to, by the end of the year, 100 push-ups straight, I will reveal myself.
Who gives a shit? What's in it for me?
What do you mean who gives a shit?
Do you know how many people we've lost just since you've been on the show in the last 10, 15? Well, the people leave when you come. You're a weirdo because here's what happens. You're a real tough, you're a sticky widget because when you come on the show, there are hardcore ride and dies who love you. But I also lose probably 20% of the audience when you come on the show. So it's a tough thing for me.
Well, let me ask you this.
But I feel bad because you're a DEI hire. And so I'm not gonna let you go.
I'm gonna leave. I've been on here long enough. Let me just ask you this. Do you really like those people that leave when I come on? I mean, let me ask you this. Do people even call? Am I the only person that calls? Is there anybody else that they're does anybody even talk about anything? Don't you get tired of hearing, oh, hey, Jeffy, I loved your work on God of War. Brilliant. That doesn't get boring? How about you come in here and talk to Jeffy and challenge him on ideas?
I
Look
find
at what I did
you.
to Colin. Look at what I did to Adam
You didn't do
Schefter.
shit to Colin. Colin was like going, who are you? I love that clip because you literally thought Colin knew who you were. And he's just like, no,
his right-hand man knows who I am. He's a fan. Okay.
But the point is this, though. I will give you your flowers, P. Turtle, in the sense that
That's all I've wanted.
Yeah, I know, because I will give you your flowers because I do agree with you. You understand conflict and you understand what makes a good, engaging conversation for certain people, of which I am one. I like when I listen to shows that have somebody who call in and push back. I find conflict engaging and interesting if it doesn't go on for too long. I love to argue,
even in real life. Arguing is the best.
Arguing is fun. But I think, like Xanark says, I think P. Turtle has met his quota. I think so. So call back though, but not today. All right, P. Turtle.
Kathy, I'm glad I'm not banned. Thank you.
All right, see you, buddy. Don't use hate speech, you idiot.
I agree. Okay.
All right, goodbye.
Later, man.
Yep. There he goes, off into the night. If you want to call in, you can call in over on the Discord as well. Rob the Mod, get on the mic, Rob the Mod. We haven't heard from you in a while. Rob the Mod says, I miss Hogwash. In the meantime, I want you to look at your screen here. People say things like, I agree, George Bush. Jaffe fanboys do make boring calls. Right. I mean, calls are really hard. I'm inches away from, the problem is it's hard. I can't screen the calls because it's just me doing this. And so what you really need is somebody to go, hey, thanks for calling. What do you want to talk about? And then they kind of suss out the person, and the person, then the person who's answering the phone or the Discord has a good enough vibe. They send me 4 or 5 word sentence going, this guy wants to talk about that. And then I can make a decision about, is it good? But there's a lot of people that hate the calls, and I don't blame them because not necessarily P. Turtles, but, somebody calling is really interesting for them, but unless they've got something that the audience really wants, what are you going to do? I've talked to the amazing Lucas before. I've been on his show or he's been on mine before, Wayne. Yeah. King of Nerdum says, why don't you do that? Because I got to find the person and I'm too lazy. I don't know how to find that person. Bukaki says, I used to do that, but you stopped showing up. No, the problem is that I can't afford to pay somebody the amount that they would need to be there with my schedule, right? So Bukaki has a job. So Bukaki was great at it, but if the planets align and I'm on and Bukaki's on, it's great. But I don't know when I'm going to go live. I don't know that. And even then, he's not going to, take his pittance that I can pay compared to his real job and go, sorry, real job. Jaffe's going on at 4 today. So it's just kind of a, it's kind of a thing. It's kind of a thing. Listen, I want you to look at your screen if you don't mind, if you do me that favor. No, 1 Minute Gamer says, I thought you paid 3 editors and producers. I paid a shit ton of money to a wonderful consulting firm. Like I paid these guys And they're great. I have nothing but love for them. They were great. And one of their guys is Crackerjack. What was their? I paid them every month. What was it, like $3,500 a month, maybe more? And they got me a lot of stats and stuff, but it just I couldn't make it really work. You know, I couldn't make their analysis work, and that's not on them. That's on me. You know. But anyway, point is, no, not the pro game trainers. No, I want you to look at your screen. Would you just do me the favor? Would you do me the favor? Look at yeah, that's my background. This is why I don't eat meat. I don't understand you people. I don't understand you people who eat meat. Look at this. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I want you to see what this woman's doing. How could you do this? Good. Fuck you, lady. You're trying to kill it. What do you want it to do? If you're listening and not watching, she's got this shrimp-like thing that's still alive, and at her table, she's using chopsticks to put it in the boiling water. And it doesn't want to go in the water. And so, finally, it jumps on her arm, and it latches on. Rob says, this is me and you, Jaffe. And it's biting the shit out of her. And it's like, good. You fucking monster. I don't understand. I mean, look at this. What do you want it to do? Yeah, fuck you. You got what you deserved. Serves you right for eating sea spider, says Max. Yeah, I know. Eternal says that lady sucks for not killing it ahead of time. I don't believe in boiling animals alive. Addie Pie, they don't have feelings, really? Of course they have feelings. Look, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And let me tell you something else about this. There is, an AI is actually helping with this. There's a number of really cool TED Talks people have sent me on this. But you know, there is more and more evidence that not only are some of the smallest animals sentient, it doesn't mean they're sitting around pondering the meaning of life, but there's an awareness of their existence, let alone the fact that you've got animals that we think of as sort of a higher level of consciousness that are communicating. And we just don't understand how they're communicating. But we know now, and our AI is helping us starting to figure out there's actual language that's going back and forth that's relatively deep. So, you know. All right, let's see what's going on. I got stuff to show you guys, though. I'm not here to fuck around. Right, research is showing that plants communicate. You goddamn right. Let me ask you guys, do you want me to show you some of my gaming news I got or some of my weird news? What do you guys want to talk about? I'm going to close my eyes for about 10 seconds to reset. You guys want to talk weird shit or you want to talk some more gaming shit? How about that, pal? How about that, pal? Here we go. 10 seconds to meditate. Oh man, right down the middle. Right down the middle. All right. We'll mix it up. Coolius Maximus says, a beta boy, I don't know what that means. Twisted Metal streamer once said that you're a weird guy. I am a weird guy. I realize now they simply don't try to understand what you say. Well, that's true too. They're idiots, a lot of the people who come at me. But that said, weird, yeah. Because why would I seriously? I don't mean weird like I'm weird like I don't even know what that would mean like in a derogatory way. But don't you? I don't go out of my way to be weird, but I go out of my way to do exactly what I want. Which is why when somebody like P Turtle or the guy earlier talking about this masculinity in gaming, I find it so weird how many people are willing to sort of go and get the syllabus of what is acceptable in life right now and then conform to it. Like for a while, it was that whole Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan thing. And you had all these guys going out trying to be that. And it's like, don't you want to make your own syllabus and decide, you know, what you want to do? Now, if Joe Rogan, and I think Joe Rogan is, if Joe Rogan is just living himself and he's not playing a character, great. But all of those people that are following him going, that's what masculinity is. It's like, dude, why are you doing that? I don't understand. Twisted Sis says most people are sheep followers. I don't think so. I think they are, but I don't think deep down they want to be. I think it's just fear. I just think it's fear. Ricardo says just being honest, but it's been so long since he typed. Oh, here we go. Jaffe, I am smoking weed. Just got discriminated in. It got decriminalized in Brazil. Yeah, weed's the best. I love weed, man. I love weed. Have I seen the alpha male boot camps, Eddie T? Oh, I have. They are disturbing. I don't have a beef with Joe Rogan, even though I don't agree with a lot of what he says, and I think sometimes he could be very irresponsible given his platform. I'm a fan of Joe Rogan, or at least a number of his topics. When he talks DMT and UFOs and, I don't like his comedy. I've seen a couple of his specials, but I got nothing against Joe Rogan. What do I not agree with? I don't agree with his take on the COVID vector midin or whatever. I don't agree that there is a evidence of these companies that were intentionally holding back a cure so they could make money. Do I think companies do that? Of course. Do I think companies would, I am absolutely in belief that we currently have a series of inventions that are being withheld because it would decimate the energy companies, the automobile companies. If you look at like maglev technology or propulsion technology that doesn't actually require any sort of propulsion, but it's using sort of gravity fields and things like that. Do I think that the car companies want to keep that hidden? That the energy companies want to keep that hidden? Fuck yeah. Of course. I'm not, but to offer it up as fact, like Rogan sometimes does without any real evidence, that I think is problematic for me, given that I don't think a lot of people are the kind of critical thinkers they should be. Now, I'll tell you, I was really happy to see this in England, and they had to have all these fucking riots to happen. But, they announced today that they're going to add to the curriculum conspiracy awareness, critical thinking, media literacy. We need a lot of that over here. You've got Donald Trump and his people going around literally thinking that Kamala Harris created a CGI audience when she landed in Colorado. And there's no evidence of that. There's tons of evidence that that's a lie, but you've still got people posting it. Nomad Soul says, so you're saying the Joe Rogan thing, not Joe Rogan, the Elon Musk is live right now with Trump? I mean, I'll look at it for a few minutes. Let me see. Twitter, let's see. I'm sure it's right on the front, right? There we go. Elon Musk and Donald Trump times space. That's not it. That's Ashton Forbes. I know who that is. Where is it? How do I find it? Show me where to find it, man. Can we teach kids how to be useful to themselves? Right, Geesh. That's what they're trying though. Oh, it's crashing. Let me know when it's up. Yeah, Wayne B says putting people behind bars for retweets is insane. Well, okay. I mean, the UK doesn't have free speech like we do here, but even in America, you know, one of the very few limitations on free speech here in America is if you incite violence. So if you retweet something and you knowingly retweet it and you do it in a way that it's pretty clear that you're doing it because you know it's going to create a lot of violence for people, then I believe very much that sort of clause would kick in. But they don't even have that though in the UK, right? So I don't. But Doug, it's not insane that I actually support that. But again, this is the problem with people when it comes to this shit. It's not. Your choice of words is so inflammatory and so argumentative that why even engage with you? It's insane that I support that. I'm literally saying that the Supreme Court has put some regulation, as much of a free speech purist as I am, there are regulations needed, just like I think there are regulations needed on the Second Amendment. We have a whole history of why certain very specific regulations are needed. And in the case of me going out to Twitter, if I'm Elon Musk and saying, Kamala Harris, I have evidence that, she, you know, you can do AI and make her say anything now. And if she says, I'm coming to assassinate somebody, and someone uses that to stop her physically, you think that person who tweeted that would not be guilty? Doug says, who gets to decide what is inciting violence? The courts. The courts get to decide. And no, if you clap at a street fight where your guy is winning, are you inciting violence? No, because you're not. The violence is already happening. Free speech can be hate speech, Jean-Claude, in America, and it should be. Because one person's hate speech is another person's expression. But if it becomes violent, then not always, but there could be a problem. The Supreme Court says the Eternal needs consequences for abusing their power. Yeah, they do. No, they're trying. Biden's proposed some stuff. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but so the courts decide the laws now. No, but the Supreme Court decides what is constitutional. So if somebody is arrested and the prosecutor says, this is what I'm saying to Sith, you're so ready to fire your metaphorical gun. You don't even listen. The courts aren't deciding the laws, but if a scenario has appeared in front of a court, it means that someone has decided that the person who's being prosecuted has broken the law. The court is there to decide, if it's not a jury trial, if that has indeed occurred. And it gets appealed up to the Ninth Circuit and then the Supreme Court. And ultimately the Supreme Court will decide if what they are being accused of is or is not constitutional. I don't understand what's problematic about this. Boop, anybody can call on the Discord. Yeah, you just got to put yourself in the call-in waiting room and we'll bring you in. So anyway, the idea is so they do not have to worry about work later. I get that. The pub monkey's talking about, I get that. The problem with that, he's talking about the Supreme Court, and it's like the reason that they are in for life is so they don't have to go, well, if I rule against Microsoft and suddenly they can blackball me in tech work after I run out of my term limits. I agree with the intent behind that protection, but I don't agree with the way it's being offered to them. And I also don't agree that when they are caught doing something, yes, we could impeach them, but it's like anything else. It's so political now that your impeachment doesn't work the way it was meant to work either. So, all right. Okay, so I'm going to go to some weird stuff for now, but you let me know when that interview comes on. I'll tell you what I'm prepping. How about this? I'll tell you what I'm prepping for the next I Love the Weird show. I don't have a lot of research done yet, but You know what? Colin was saying, let's do a UFO show. I might have him come on to I Love the Weird pretty soon. We'll talk UFOs. But let's see what I got. What am I looking at here? Well, that's strange things found inside the human body. I haven't even looked at this yet. Shall we look at this together? Sounds like I like social credit score stuff. What are you talking about? Hello, Mr. K. Does anybody actually want to see this or no? Because I don't want to gross you guys out. I'll keep moving on. You guys let me know if you really want to see it. Let me see. This is a dead guy. Look at this. When he was alive, he used to be a carpenter. A lot of these funerals I'm seeing lately, it's not for mine, no. A lot of funerals lately that I'm seeing on TikTok and stuff, they are kind of, this is what they were in life, and so they just pose the body for their funeral. So this is the guy's fucking funeral. I saw one the other day. Guy was a race car driver. It's very weird. But again, I mean, it's different cultures, you know. What are you going to do? I'm not judging. I guess I am because I'm saying very weird. But this is a 2-minute clip. I'm going to play this for you because this is what I don't understand. Is this guy lying? This is an astronaut, American astronaut, Gordon Cooper interview. Listen to what he says and then go, why would he say this if it's not accurate? Listen to this guy.
You said you saw literally hundreds of unidentifiable flying objects.
Yes, they were flying quite high. How high we couldn't tell because we couldn't get anywhere near their altitude. But they were either very large craft way up or smaller craft still well above what we could get to.
For a day and a half, all of this happened. But then no one wanted to talk about it.
Well, we sent a report forward on it, and the answer that finally came back months later was they were probably high-flying seed pods, which didn't sound
This was
very
an outer
logical.
space, it turns out. No one saw it because they were in space.
Base. His military camera crew actually filmed an unidentified saucer-shaped object landing near the site.
As they were sitting there filming, a little saucer came from, I say little saucer, it was a saucer, came flying over their heads, put down 3 little landing gear and landed right out on the dry lake bed. And they picked up their cameras and started over toward it, filming as they went. And when they got in fairly close to it, it lifted up, put the gear back in the wheel wells, tipped up, and took off at a great rate of speed. And so they came into my office and told me what had happened, and I sent them over to develop the film. And then had to go through all the proper regulations of reporting this. And we wound up having to send the film forward to Washington in the base jet airplane. And I don't know whether anyone's ever seen it since.
Now, the vehicle that you just described, how similar was it to the very first sighting that you had back in 1951?
Quite similar. It was about basically.
So, yeah, they show up all over the place. Now, my guess is probably these saucers that people are seeing a lot of are basically government programs where we are basically seeding clouds to control the weather is what I think is actually happening because people have been seeing these more and more. But you know, I will say I find the debunkers just as obnoxious as the grifters and the scammers, because there's absolutely nothing about saying, oh, well, that's hard to believe, or I don't have any evidence of it. You know, but like even Bulbul says, Javi, these things are all from government. They're not real. They're not true. You don't know that. You've literally got evidence, or not evidence, but you've literally got, I'm trying to find it, images on cave walls from thousands of years ago that show weird fucking shit. that look like alien shit. And I'm not saying it's real. I'm not saying it's aliens. But I am saying that's interesting. Wouldn't we want to think about it? I mean, of course you need proof. I'm not saying I believe. I don't know. But I know that there's enough weird shit out there that it's worth spending some time questioning it, especially given the value financially that a lot of people would have to suppress this information. So we don't have any, we as the public, Eternal says we don't have evidence that they're from other planets either. No, we don't have any evidence at all. There are a number of people that say the evidence exists and the government is suppressing it, that the Vatican is suppressing it as well. Sure, I'm not going to lie. I would love to believe it to be true, but I'm not going to believe it just because I want to believe it. That's not how my brain works. But I would love to believe it. I would love to know that there is more out there than just what we can see. What advantages do these people have by not leaking? What advantage? I want to make sure I understand your question. What advantages do the people who have the information by not leaking is what you're asking? So like if you look at, I'll give you an example. Okay. I'm trying to find the article that talks about this. Hang on. So I guess I'm not prepared for this show. This is all the stuff I'm prepping, but here's one. This guy, Ashton Forbes, who is a dyed-in-the-wool believer. He is incentivized to believe, just like certain people are incentivized to debunk. Doesn't mean he's right or wrong. These videos he's talking about have never been debunked. I'll show it to you in a second. Scammers falsified fake comparisons to non-matching VFX to trick people into thinking they're CGI. The government would do practically anything to hide these videos due to the weapon capabilities they reveal. No hoax video has ever been an infrared with a remote terminal Citrix session on crop panning view of field. I don't know what that means. No one has ever seen geodesic tracks like the orbs make in this drone video, and this is the first recorded endothermic event the public has ever seen. No one ever came forward with any evidence that they made these videos. No one hoaxed real military videos of completely unknown classified capabilities in 2014 of a plane that was never found 10 years later. So is it true? I don't know. And guess what? I have seen the effects guys debunk this. I have seen people debunk it. Then I've seen the debunking of the debunking. I don't know. You don't know. So just enjoy, sit back, enjoy being agnostic with your old Papa Jaffe. Because you don't know either. You have no fucking clue. And so what we do with that is we keep open minds about things. And do we know people will try to fuck with us and manipulate us with bullshit? Yeah. Just like what we're seeing with Trump accusing Harris of having no crowds and it being CGI. Well, there's evidence that that's not true. You always got to keep your guard up. But, you can call in Alex Bone if you jump into the Discord, put yourself in the call-in waiting room. In Chrome, you can create tabs and name them for better organizing. I actually have that. This is all the weird stuff. These are all my weird tabs, see? But this isn't the show. I'm just showing you guys what I'm prepping. Where is the evidence that isn't true? I don't understand your question. Evidence of what specifically are you talking about? anyway, I mean, I can't debate it with you guys unless you've got some new evidence to suggest. But here's what I'll tell you. If somebody were to come out and say, Jaffe, this isn't true because XYZ, I'd go, okay. I don't care if it's true or not. I care about knowing if it's true or not. If it's not true, it's not true. That's okay. I don't have a dog in the fight. 1 Minute Gamer, thank you, buddy. 21 months. He says, Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix, which I watched, showed that there are things being suppressed because it knocks off names of leaderboards of discoveries. Yeah, but I did see a number of debunking of that, right? I mean, and then I've heard people say that there are people that are paid to debunk by the people who want this shit to stay secret. You're never going to really fucking know until you see it for yourself, is what I would say. There's no way to know. I love you too, Poor Degenerate. Thank you, buddy. 24 months. But there is like a, what is the, like, is it Japan Maglift car? I think they just, Japan's maglev cars, known as linear motor cars, use advanced superconductors and quantum locking mechanisms to levitate above a magnetic surface. Okay. But there are a number. I saw two people. I saw one is this woman who actually worked down at the University of Alabama for a while. And she was, as the kids say, disappeared. She was revealing in her work a number of energy or ways to basically create energy without the traditional energy sources. No solar power, no gas power, nothing like that. And she's vanished, right? There was a similar guy that was working on a bunch of remote viewing stuff, and he's vanished. Doesn't mean they just didn't go off the grid and die, but it's weird. I've seen that too, Cluebell. Bob Lazar said we're just containers for aliens. Yeah, it's creepy. Derek says Kamala having AI generated crowds. Where's the evidence it's not true? I'll show you. Would you like to see? It's very quick to find. It'll take you 2 seconds. Harris crowds debunked. Let's see if we can find it here. There's a guy who literally put together a bunch of here's one. If she can play it, come on now. Where you can actually see the video that people sent that they were actually in the audience. I got to find it for you real quick. Well, here's one guy. He says, it's sad to find out Kamala Harris is using AI to fake the crowds at her speeches. It's a hard way to find out you aren't a real person. There's just lies, man. But here, I'm trying to, let me show you. There's a number of people who are filming in the actual hangar that is video. And I don't want to spend too much time looking for it. It's easy to find, but maybe not easy on a live stream. Let me see. Maybe I'll just go to YouTube. Harris. It's ridiculous we're talking about this. It's just ridiculous. And if I can't find it right now, I will show it to you later. But yes, I have seen videos from people in the hangar in Colorado, multiple ones, and from different people's phones that they've sent in. Would I put it above Kamala Harris or Trump or Biden or Obama or Lincoln or Washington to fucking lie? No. Would I put it above these people to basically do whatever they can to get elected? Of course not. That's what they do. They're horrible, horrible people in a lot of ways. But you know, you gotta offer up some shit, man. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. I really do want to show you that. So you guys are saying that the interview is not working for what's his face, for Elon Musk? No, I don't want to log out. I want to see my bookmarks because maybe I saved it there. Weird, maybe? Is it in the weird? Well, this is disgusting, is what this is. This is a wrestler. I'm not going to show it to you because it'll... But she reaches into her pants, pulls out a tampon, and shoves it in that lady's mouth. That's true. That's true. Here's another guy got disappeared. Look at this. This Mexican scientist claimed we live in a holographic matrix where we could dynamically interact with construction of reality. He vanished after he said this. Look at this. In 2005, a medical tech invented Rapix to help prevent rape in South Africa. It resembles a female condom with sharp teeth. Any man who attempts to rape a woman impales himself on the teeth and must go to the hospital to have the device removed. Think about that. Think about that. This guy dressed up as Kim Jong-un at the Olympics. I don't even know. What do you think? At this point, these poor sons of bitches from North Korea, it's like if they don't attack them, like what do they, if they do nothing, which is what they did, then does the great leader get offended? Should they have attacked him? If they laugh, they're dead. Their families are dead. So I don't know. Oh, it was probably fake, the wrestler. Sure, I know. But, look at this woman. Speaking of fake, they're talking about worrying about catfishing now. This is all AI. So again, I don't put it past anybody to lie. Look how easy it is now. Look at it. And this is commercial level. Imagine what the government's got that they can use. Come on, man. Right? But that's not a real person. That is not a real goddamn cock-a-doodie person. How is this real fucking life? I don't know. Not this, but just that we live in this world. Really? Fine. Look at this. Look at this one. Hang on. She's not real either. You've seen this one. She moves around. Paranormal beliefs. Think about this. 55% of people believe in ancient civilizations like Atlantis. 52% believe places can be haunted by spirits. 35% believe aliens have visited Earth. 26% believe aliens have come to Earth in modern times. 25% people can move stuff with their mind. 19% believe fortune tellers and psychic can see the future, and Bigfoot is a real creature at 16%. Jaffe, how can I live every day of my life knowing I'm surrounded by the devil? I don't know. I don't believe in the devil. Maybe that's part of it. Look at her. She's not real either. Is that right, Rob? 16%? Okay. If you believe Kamala Harris crowd AI shit, you probably believe the earth is flat. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. What happened to the call? I'm not broadcasting on StreamYard is why, Alex Bone. I can do that later, but I'm not doing it tonight. But no, I don't have any belief in the devil at all. Game Pass is the future. I do. I believe Game Pass or things like it is very much the future, 100%. It's impossible to deny it. I mean, look, whether it's Game Pass or not is irrelevant. What's relevant is, we were talking earlier about what teenagers are playing video game wise. And, the fact of the matter is that they are basically playing Game Pass every month when they subscribe to the Battle Pass at Fortnite or Roblox or whatever. So whether you call it Game Pass, the idea of not owning your games and subscribing monthly to them, that's already the way most people are getting their games now. Period. Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's, Coolest says constant income from games you might not ever play. Eventually you'll buy them all under the subscription and spend more than you ever would. Right. Sure. Snotrag says, what do you think about the eternal life of Goldman? I think the trailer that they put out looked great. but I don't really, I got to play the game, but it looked cool. Again, Twisted, this is the problem with education today. I go on a 2-minute discussion about how Game Pass and Fortnite and Roblox represents how a lot of people, and in some cases most people, get their games. And he says, most people are streaming games? You actually believe that? What? Game Pass is a subscription service. Roblox is a subscription service. Fortnite is a subscription service. Can you stream those? Yes. Do you have to? No. It's totally separate things. Do I believe streaming games is also the future? Yes, but not as quickly as subscription-based games will be the future. Why would I? Alex Bones says, can you make member videos free for everybody? Why would I do that? Hello, Captain Hook. Why would I don't understand what value is it? They're members only videos because I want you to pay and become a member, Alex. Isn't that obvious? What? All right, but that's all I got. We did a long stream. I had a good time. I hope you guys did too. It's going on 6 o'clock. I will be back though tomorrow, either with a pre-recorded or a live Gavin Games, where it's all about the games. But I do appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Thank you guys for the super chats. Again, don't be little bitches. Isn't that terrible to say? But it's true. I got nothing. Do you think Fortnite's new mode will have better gameplay than Rivals? Oh, no, I don't, TJM. Because you're limited by the core rule set, right? Whereas Rivals, every character is very unique and very, very different. Marvel Rivals. But if you are looking at Fortnite, it's going to be some variant on something they've already got for the most part. But I'm still looking forward to it because I dig the, you know what I'm going to do now? No, maybe I won't. I was going to stream some Marvel Snap because now I'm in the mood for Marvel. But nah, not right now. Maybe later. All right, fellas, Filettis, thank you. I don't agree, Brad. I really liked Marvel Rivals. But again, I'm a Marvel fanboy, so all right, I'm out. Be well, be safe, be good. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys soon. Appreciate it over on Twitch and on Twitter and here on the YouTube. Bye, you guys.